And I want to go out front now to Congressman Ted Lieu, Democrat who sits on the House Judiciary Committee. And I appreciate your time, sir. As always, you know, Trump today said he didn't tell the Justice Department to get involved in Roger Stone's sentencing. Of course, they saw his tweet and knew his sentiment before they got involved. But he says he didn't tell them to do it. Do you believe him?
I don't. And if we actually took Donald Trump's words to be true, it's even worse. Because normally when Donald Trump tells his enablers to jump, they say how high. In this case, they jumped before he even told them to do so, and that is very disturbing. Look, we call it the Department of Justice because they're supposed to base their actions on justice, not the whims of one man. And in this case, they did a favor for Donald Trump's friend. That's the very definition of corruption. And
of course, you know, as we say, these four prosecutors, they've all, you know, stepped aside now, like they in unison, saying, voting with their feet in terms of how unacceptable they see it. They, of course, work for the Department of Justice, and now Bill Barr's Department of Justice siding with the president. What would you do about this? I mean, is this something you think is impeachable in and of itself, or what?
Because of the failure of Senate Republicans, other than Mitt Romney, to uphold their constitutional oath, and it's now up to the American people to hold the president accountable in November. The House Judiciary Committee in which I sit, we are going to investigate. We are going to hold hearings. We're going to have Bill Barr come in and testify in March. We're going to continue to expose the misconduct of the Trump administration so the American people can make a decision in November.
So, Congressman Lieu, you know, the president said, obviously he put his tweet out, but then he said, you know what, so what if I spoke to the Justice Department? That's fine, too, even if, you know, as he likes to do. Well, I'm not saying I did, but if I did, it'd be fine. Let me play what he said.
No, I didn't speak to the justice. I'd be able to do it if I wanted. I have the absolute right to do it. I stay out of things to a degree that people wouldn't believe, but I didn't speak to him.
Your response?
No ordinary American gets to escape the law or get favors from prosecutors. But somehow, if you're Donald Trump's friend, you get to get a favor from the Department of Justice. That is exactly the swamp that Donald Trump promised to drain. He has now become the very embodiment of their swamp, and I think the American people are going to take it out on him in November.
So obviously the 7 to 9 year sentence, right, that the prosecutors, the four prosecutors involved, they recommended 4 years. And of course, as we said, Jessie Lieu, the person who was overseeing this entire thing, the president has now pulled her nomination to Treasury. So he's made it clear. But the judge ultimately has full say. So the Justice Department can come in and say, don't do it. Bill Barr is now doing, right? Don't do it. That's way too aggressive of a sentence. But the judge does still have full say. Do you trust that Roger Stone will still receive a fair sentence from the American justice system?
I do. Our judges in the federal judiciary have lifetime tenure. The judge will look at the facts and make a decision based on the facts and the law. So I do trust this judge. I think it's important, again, to note that bipartisan prosecutors in this case, as you said, not only left the case, but one entirely resigned from the Department of Justice. We have institutional rot happening right now at the Department of Justice. This needs to be fixed because it is very dangerous for our democracy and if America and Americans cannot trust its law enforcement system.
So, Congressman, President Trump also talked about those four prosecutors specifically, you know, the ones who stepped aside, who have resigned because of his behavior. Here's what he said.
They ought to go back to school and learn, because I'll tell you, with the way they treated people, nobody should be treated like that.
Congressman Lieu, you're a former prosecutor. Does it concern you to hear this, that these prosecutors are resigning from the case, even from the department, and the President of the United States said they should go back to school and learn?
I'm a former prosecutor. Donald Trump has no idea what he's talking about. If you look at what happened in the Roger Stone case, he was convicted fairly and squarely in a court of law. The sentence recommendations by the Department of Justice initially were well within the sentencing guidelines. It was really upper management, whether it was Donald Trump or not. It was his enablers and maybe the president overruling these career prosecutors. That should not happen because you're basically doing favors for friends of the president. Ordinary Americans don't get these kinds of breaks. This is not going to sit well with most of America.
And Bill Barr, I know you want to appear before your committee. Do you understand that he will? Is he going to appear and answer questions?
He has agreed to appear in March. We expect him to honor his word and appear. And so far, he has not come in for any oversight hearings whatsoever. He's been Attorney General for quite a long time. It is simply inexcusable. He has not yet been before the Judiciary Committee. We fully expect to see him in March.
All right, see if he keeps his word. Thank you very much. Congressman Lieu, I appreciate your time tonight, sir.
Thank you.